I'd like meeting of the Library Commission to order. Can we establish quorum?
Yes. Chair Bedard,
Here.
Vice Chair Morris,
Here.
Commissioner Fawcett,
Yeah.
Commissioner Carter. You have a quorum.
Great. Shall we do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag Do we have any public comments on items not on the agenda? Let's move on quickly to the consent calendar. The minutes of the special meeting of January 9th. Do I have a motion to approve?
I approve, I vote.
I'll second that. Anthony, a vote?
Yes. Chair Bedard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Fawcett,
Aye.
Commissioner Moore, or Commissioner Carter. Motion carries.
Great. So let's move on to item number 2, which is discuss and provide feedback on main library improvements with Anderson Brule Architects. Is there a report on this item?
There is a report in the agenda packet that folks can take a look at if they would like, that has a little more information, but the city really decided to have Anderson Brule Architects here to provide a presentation. We'll be flipping through the slide presentation. For those of you who don't normally come to commission meetings, Chair Bedard just kind of gave an overview. We'll have a presentation from the consultants. There will be a time for questions from the commissioners. Then you'll be able to provide any public comment, which depending on how many cards we get, Chair Bedard will make the determination on the length of time. I do want to direct everybody, we do have flyers in the back corner. This is not the only time to provide comment. So don't worry, don't feel like you necessarily need to comment now. There's going to be at least 2 opportunities in this first phase. And then as they go through the timeline, you'll see that there's lots of opportunities for feedback. So we want all of the feedback possible. Tonight is not the end all be all, so don't worry if you don't get anything in 3 minutes that you're allotted for a public comment. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to our wonderful architect.
Probably makes sense for me to not hear that, Anthony.
Sure.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for having us. Members of the public, we're very excited to be here this evening. I'm going to be walking through a brief presentation with you all tonight, and Kate as well is here from ABA, my colleague. So I'm going to jump right in. We're going to get through this presentation quickly. And then if there's any clarifying questions, feel free to interrupt me for clarifying questions if there's anything that doesn't make sense. And then, of course, we'll have opportunity for discussion and comment afterwards. So thank you. So this is our agenda for the evening for this presentation. We'll do a quick intro of our team. We want to talk with you specifically about areas for improvement and reviewing those. You all know you have an incredible space, and we are here to join team with you to make it even better. So we'll talk about what that would look like. I want to make sure we have time for discussion, and then we'll move into some conclusions and next steps in the process. As Anthony mentioned, we are very early in this process, so there will be a lot of opportunity to engage with you all. Thank you, Anthony. All right, so let's talk about the context. We always, for ABA, we always like to start our meetings with context, purpose, and intended results. Really important to know why we're all here and what we're trying to achieve. So contextually, as you all know, the main library improvements project for phase 1 was approved to move forward by City Council. And this commission meeting this evening is the first part in a round of many engagement opportunities to work through this together. We want to make sure that we're thinking through all the stakeholder engagement. Your voices matter in this process, and making sure that we're getting the input that we need as a design team to make sure we're addressing the needs and the improvements and be able to prioritize that. So that's a big part of why we're here tonight contextually. I will say this is building on the work that's already been done. There's been some great work completed already, as many of you know. So we are not here to unravel that sweater. we are here to start with the foundational work that's been done and take it to the next step. Thank you, Anthony. So our purpose tonight is to review and discuss the proposed improvements, to really get your input and talk about those next steps. So again, very early in the process. Tonight will not be about design solutions yet. Tonight is about validating and confirming where we've been, so we're making sure we're going in the right direction. Hence the intended results. Pretty much I just kind of stated that. We'll also talk about kind of the goals and the timeline moving forward, so everybody has a sense of that as well. So speaking of timeline, I'll make sure I'm not blocking the screen. At ABA, we do something called a process map. And this is really a roadmap of interaction is what it is. So what we're going to be doing is, and we've already mapped this roadmap out, but we're going to be working with city staff and making sure we've thought through all the right steps so that every point along the way, there's clarity of who's involved, what information we need, and what decisions will be made. It's very important to have this roadmap so that everybody can see that process, right? So this roadmap, there's a lot of small text here. I don't expect you all to read this at this point. However, I wanted to point out where we are in this process. You can see we are here in this gold box, and we are just getting started. So we've just kicked off the project with the technical team, and now we are here at this library commission meeting together, and there's a lot of work we have ahead of us. And along these steps of work, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. You can see in this blue section, there's a number of boxes that hide underneath here of engagement. This is when we're going to be talking with you all about these potential solutions that we're going to work through to meet your needs. So this map is really important. And for right now, we're really focused on phase 1, which takes us to right about there, excuse me. And then phase 2 and 3 would be the next phases of the process in terms of more detailed design documentation. But this is a conceptual design phase 1 effort. Thank you, Anthony. I just wanted to speak to this briefly. This is another way to look at opportunity for interaction. So this is taking our process map that you just saw. And what it's doing is it's saying, what are all the opportunities that you all have to be engaged in this process? And so you can see here, we've already met with the city and library staff to at least talk with them about all the work that's been done and make sure that we're picking up where it has been left off. And now we are in this cluster right here. There's multiple clusters, but this first cluster is comprised of 3 parts. Tonight, our commission meeting together. We're also going to have a feedback focus group open house coming up next week on March 12th. I think the flyer that Anthony was referring to has that information on it. We're also going to have another open house coming up on March 22nd. So all these dates will be available. We'll make sure we get flyers out to anybody who would like that. But all of these meetings are going to be happening this month to really kick this off. And then we're going to actually have another round of meetings coming back to you all. And this will happen in the springtime, where we're going to come forward with ideas and solutions based on what we heard from you and give you an opportunity to respond to those. So again, a lot of opportunity for interaction. And then of course, we'll be meeting with building and planning departments. We'll be having more leadership presentations and opportunities for you to hear those updates. So that's just a really quick recap of our plan. Maybe just as Kate comes up, I'll mention a little bit about our team. I kind of jumped right into the content, but Kate and I, as I mentioned with ABA, thank you, Pierre, for the introduction as well. Libraries are what we do. So for us to be a part of this opportunity with you all is very exciting. We bring a lot of library expertise and experience in 40+ years of architecture. So for Kate and I to be able to be a part of this endeavor with you all is really an honor. We have a lot of experience working with various libraries. We know they're all unique. We know every community is unique. And we've done work here in your community in the past. So we're looking forward to that continued relationship with you all. And I'll hand it off to Kate to do a quick introduction as well.
Yeah, and Jason is a lead architect with our firm and brings that expertise. I have a specialization myself in planning, which means that I'm working really early on to make sure we're engaging stakeholders effectively, really hearing everybody's voices. And, looking to plan the plan, lay out that journey so that we're moving in the right direction, that we're taking the right steps to get there. And, I just love working with people to understand, what's on their minds, what are their fears, what are their dreams, and then helping inform the design team to make that a reality. And being able to see, that journey is just a really beautiful, act of collaborative creation. So just a bit about myself. Next slide. I'm going to be walking through these areas for improvement that Jason mentioned, that foundation that your city has already built together with the previous studies that have been done and the proposals, as they're described, that have been identified for basically challenges that are in the current library and that the city would like to specifically improve. As we explore those together, we're of course always going to be coming back to these core values for the library. And we've captured them here because we want to just continue to remind ourselves of those at each step and make sure that everyone knows that they're present on our mind. For the proposals, next slide. They're grouped into 3 categories, and this is a bit by priority that the ones that are in proposal 1 are the ones that the commission and the city decided basically were rising to the top as more important, that if we can, we'd really like to prioritize those areas for improvement. Proposal 2 and 3, also important, but might give some deference to the ones that are up in proposal 1. That's our current understanding. That doesn't mean that there might not be some mixing and matching as we find more information, as we explore different solutions. But this is helping us understand where these lie in priority from the previous work that's been done. We want to build on that work, but there's certainly opportunity this evening and through the input process to either confirm that, to validate that, or you may have a different opinion. You may look at it and go, I can see why maybe someone thought that, but I actually think that this should move up in priority, or maybe this should move, be reprioritized down to make way for something else. So if you have thoughts on that, we'll definitely be discussing that. This is a brief list. The report that we mentioned goes through each of these items in a little more detail to share just some basic information that we already understand about the challenges. But none of these have identified a solution yet. That's where we're saying we're not looking at designs tonight. We don't have solutions just yet. But what we actually want to do before we go to the design process, before we go to solution, is to define the problem, to understand what success would look like. And so that's the other thing that we're asking for input on this evening for these different categories, to understand, have we got these priorities right? Do they need to be adjusted? Perhaps there's a new need that somehow got missed in this list. That would be good to hear about. And then as we start to explore different solutions, what will success look like? What should we be trying to achieve? We have a pretty good understanding of what the challenges are here, but what are we aiming for? How will we know when we've achieved success? So just briefly in proposal 1, some of the things that are covered is looking at the lobby, addressing some of the flow and different services that are happening there and helping that to work better. Looking at the possibility of family bathrooms, coming back to that circulation and reference desk, and making sure that those are working the best that they can, that they have the facilities to support the best services possible. Looking at the children's area and its access to the entrance and the flow between. Making sure we have a great solutions for holds. Now, I will mention that some changes for holds have happened since some of the studies identifying that need occurred. So in some ways, it's always a moving target, right? Like even right now, your children's area is actually in the process of preparing for improvements. And so we're incorporating all of those things as we're going through this process, but just acknowledging that this isn't just a fixed static thing. Improving Friends sales space, so finding ways to help that work more effectively. Remediating inadequate wiring. I think we're all very familiar with the challenge that it can be to plug in our devices when we're visiting or finding what we need there. And then any accessibility concerns that we come across as we're doing the improvements. Next category, proposal 2. One of the things that the library is looking at is, sure,
Clarification question.
clarification, please.
Context? What is the context of phase 1? Is it?
Yes, thanks for,
the Current facility, I mean, help situate us.
If I
Some
can-
of us are not familiar.
Yeah, if I could just interject, at this point, it's just questions from the commission. Not that we don't welcome questions from the public, but because this is a Brown Act body, we have to follow a certain set of rules. So the commissioners will be asking questions and then the public can provide question or comments during the public comment period.
thanks for that guidance, Anthony. Let's see. I'll hold to the thing and not respond to the question, even though everything in me wants to respond to it.
At the end
So
of the
for,
presentation.
fair enough. Extended hours. So this is the idea that the library could offer services and access without necessarily being fully open, fully staffed, and looking at ways to explore that. Say the idea of being able to pick up your holds or something after hours. Evaluate and consolidate staff areas, basically looking at, you know, how staff areas are currently set up and if there's an opportunity for greater efficiency or greater, when things are contiguous, so together, so next to each other rather than separated necessarily. So just exploring ways to improve that. Looking at improving the ability to achieve a quiet area within the library or being able to accommodate noisier activities without disrupting quieter activities. And then finally, improving the digital resources within the library. Then last but not least, just, you know, slightly outranked by the other things would be proposal 3. So this would be looking even further at that extended hours capability, perhaps creating an opening to more directly access between the program space and the children's space to really create greater flexibility there for the various programs. So that's, you know, that's a very brief, quick walkthrough of those different proposals. As you'll see in the packet, we've worked to summarize the findings and information gathered from previous studies to just help, you know, get everybody on the same page about what we've learned. And I'd like to acknowledge then the next steps that are going to happen in this session, which is namely public comments and commission discussion. So if we can go forward one. During public comment, obviously, if you have input, you're able to speak during the public comment period. If you want to give us direct written comments, we did bring a few extra cards. So if for whatever reason you didn't want to get up and speak today and you'd rather write something down, that's an option. And you can also submit an email to Anthony, even if you think of something after today. Those are all 3 ways coming out of tonight that we can receive your input on what we're discussing this evening. The commission is also going to be having discussion, and we do have some specific questions that we're hoping that you can address during that discussion. And these are great candidates for comments from the public as well. But for the needs that have been identified, obviously things continue to change every day. And as you look at those critical needs, is there anything missing from the list? You know, something, you know, that maybe has happened more recently or a change that somehow wasn't on that list that you want to bring to our attention. And then as you look at that list of the priorities, is there any adjustments that you would want us to consider or would recommend? Then the second category is around what I started to touch on earlier, which is success criteria. So our next step after this round of community input is going to be to start to look at potential solutions, ways of solving these challenges and problems. And we will be more successful in that if we know what are the priorities for success, what success will look like in your minds, because that's different for each situation, each library. So if you have any ideas of what success would look like for, say, a better library or improving the children's area or any of the other improvements that we talked about, we'd like to hear about that. Or just if there's any other key considerations, you know, things that you know that may have not been captured in the report as we've built it, or we might not already be aware of, but that we should be thinking about as we explore solutions. So with that, I think I'll turn over to the next section. But were there any clarification questions as I walked through this content.
I'll, to add to the question that came from the public, in terms of clarification, I can see the confusion between phase and the proposal numbering. Phase one is actually what's going on right now that ABA has been contracted to do. But and phase one is determining what within each proposal can be done and coming back with potential solutions for the stakeholders to come in and rule on. So it is, I'm hoping I addressed your question on phase and proposals, because it is a little.
Well, and I'd add a little bit, some of the things that have helped my understanding of it is when I see proposal one, I think of, first tier proposed improvement areas. That's my long name and that's its nickname. And then phase one is this pre-design and conceptual design
Right.
phase that is really looking to help the city decide what scope of these improvements the city would like to take on in improving. Because there's some unknowns right now, like what might the solution be? How much might it cost? How does that align with budget? And this early exploratory work is helping to answer those questions so that we can move forward in confidence. I will say that the additional envelope that we've been given is indeed the building envelope. So this is an interior focus, as you can probably tell from the proposed improvement areas, that's where we're focusing. Not to say that, there might not be some interface between building systems and things like that, but that there is an interiors focus to our phase and our scope of work that we're taking on. Any other clarifying questions?
Any questions?
I do want to just mention, if people would like to provide public comment, if you could get your cards into me now, so we can I can start tallying up how many we have.
So how are you taking the children's space the work that's been going on into consideration? Like, are you getting the designs from them or are you waiting for designs to be done first? Just want to make sure there's no conflict.
Great question. Commissioner Morris. Yeah, thank you. We actually have already received the design documentation for those plans. And so our intent is to really understand and plan that is going to be what happens in that space. So that whatever improvements we're going to be planning that are adjacent or congruent with that would already take into account that plan. So it wouldn't be to alter that plan, it would be to incorporate it as it's planned already and make sure that we're coordinating that.
And to follow up on that, of course, there's, purported to be something else happening in the courtyard.
Yes.
And will those plans also be considered?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been working hard with the team to make sure that we're getting all the information that we can possibly get for any future plans, things that are in the near term, because what we don't want to do is create solutions potentially that would disrupt those plans that are already in motion. So we need to be coordinated with those.
And I am going to make a comment and sort of step out of character since I was on the subcommittee that put together the different proposals. But the intent, I believe, really was to be very Lego-like in the proposals. Also, in terms of priorities, the real priority is, to me anyway, my opinion, is to an item that adds to the services available at the library is very key. And extended hours, right? More hours is more services from that perspective to the people who live here. So that, just to give you my view on it, as to how the different segments were done. It wasn't really rack stanked. It was really looked at from the needs assessments out there already and, put together in that framework. Anyway,
Thank you.
thank you.
I also wanted to add that one of the big thing is I think it's detailed in here, but making it seem more spacious, making sure the flow is more, it feels like a better flow when you walk in and, go to different rooms. I just want to make sure that I comment on that because I think we all dream of having a bigger library, right? But we have this box that we have to work with for now. So we just want to make sure that it looks spacious and, you know, architecturally, I think you can play, you know, based on like some of the proposals, like we could play with the space. Just, I know that you have it in here. I'm just like saying as a whole.
A great comment, if I may just add quickly, is that we fully recognize that these proposals, while they're prioritized maybe and separated, the idea is that we're gonna look at this holistically and look at synergistic opportunities. So if there's a way to make one move that also helps something else to open the flow, that is where our expertise can be brought to the table and really do that in as part of that move. So absolutely, it's a great
Okay,
point.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
To comment on that.
Well, and I'm already hearing some of that flavor of success criteria of, you know, even though we're not expanding the library's footprint, you know, making it actually larger, doesn't mean that the design can't help it feel more open. and
Exactly,
Larger, and
exactly.
that, you know, that can be stated as a success.
Yes, sure.
Any other questions from the commission?
Okay, you guys, good?
Thank
you.
Great.
Fantastic.
We'll see for
Take
the
a seat.
public comment.
Yeah.
Any other public comment card? Chair Bedard, you have 4 cards.
Great, but before we do that, I apologize. Yeah, okay, 3 minutes.
We don't normally have this many people, so. I'll put the time.
I have one, are you going to go through the rest of the presentation or just asking?
We weren't planning to walk through the report page by page, but I think that if you answer the question, we can reference the pages of the report so that
Because I did have comments,
we're expecting that certainly within.
yeah.
And I can bring up those slides
Great.
during discussion and you can direct me through those. All right. Awesome. Suzanne Epstein.
And there are one of starting bases that are incorrect. We can't hear. We can't hear. You can't hear me? No.
You don't have the mic.
Move forward. Yeah, move forward. I don't know if I can talk louder then. So can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, okay. This community has been trying to get, I don't mean it, do I? Yes. Hello? Now, this community has been trying to get a bigger library for 21 years. We've had so many efforts at doing that. And you're referring to the 2 needs assessments that were done in 2008 and in 2018. And if you read them, they both conclude that we need about 12,000 additional square feet to this library building to meet the needs of our community. And it's being ignored. If we go ahead with this remodel, they're going to set it back another 20 years before anyone's going to pay attention to tearing it down and building a new library. So I want the community to be aware, if they're supporting the remodel, what they're actually losing out on. Or this would be an opportunity to expand the library now. So that's the first thing. The number one thing that we need in the library is more meeting space. This is our only meeting space we have. It is, as Rose will attest, continually booked. It's very hard. We miss out on a lot of programs. There are a lot of different groups that want to meet. This is it. This is also where our children's story time is. We don't have a separate children's story time or programming area. That's very important. We need a larger children's area. Right now, we are actually have expanded our children's area out to the adult patron area. And we're, you know, we're just getting started. You want to add a bathroom, a family bathroom. Wonderful, we need a family bathroom. Where's it coming? Where's the square footage? What are we losing? We are really actually pretty tight in this library with what we're trying to provide, and anything you add, something has to be taken away. We've got the Friends of the Library in here in a very tight area. It needs a little bit more space for operations. The Friends of the Library ongoing sale is extremely successful in this library. Last year, it made over $83,000 to support this library. It sold over 35,000 items. One of the reasons is that we were having special sales where we had tables out. Our librarians told us we don't have space for special sales in our library anymore. So there's a lot of things that we really need more space for. That I think need to be a priority. And the things that are listed on your proposal for proposal 1 aren't really needed anymore. We don't need a new checkout counter. We already redid the checkout counter. We already have 2 entrances to it. It already is smaller. Our reference desk was redone. So a number of the things you have, the whole area is out in the open. All the things you have listed in your specifics that you didn't present. A lot of them have already been addressed and are taken care of. We don't need to spend $13 million or $10 million or whatever to just do some cosmetic changes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Epstein?
No, speaking. Follow up with what Dan said, I'd like to say that the use of the NCO funds is a misappropriation of the funds. The funds were intended to add hours, and the funds weren't intended to offset the the city's responsibility to provide the space. I'd also like to comment on the needs analysis. I agree that the needs that have been identified really won't benefit the patrons of the library materially. And I don't think they're worth spending all that money to do. I hope when you get around to identifying the needs of the Friends of the Library, you actually talk to somebody who's in the Friends of the Library, because they may be able to advise you on what their needs are. And as Suzanne pointed out, what's needed is more space to be able to provide sales for the benefit of the community. And once again, I don't know where the needs analysis came from that you're working towards, but it doesn't appear to represent the needs of the users of the library. Thank you very much.
Maddie McCurdy?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Maddie McBurney. I'm an artist. And I had the opportunity to exhibit my work here at the library in the lobby. And so I'm just addressing, proposal 1, which is the expansion of the lobby. And I just hope that you will not forget about this one gallery space that is open to many, many non-professional artists, and that we will be able to display our work and really create a beautiful welcome to everybody who comes to the library.
Darwin?
Holt. I sat on this commission for a long time. Questions mainly for admission delay. You talked about stakeholders and the scheduling that, and you talked about the city and this commission. Did you talk to any of these other stakeholders, whether it's Lolly, NCLA, Friends, which is a particularly, challenging to say, in creating that roadmap, because they also have a stakeholder in this library and might give you some ideas of, well, maybe you want to do this, or maybe like that. It also struck me that your proposals mainly talk about the west end of the library. Are you doing anything at the east end of the library? And that, or even considering it in any of your proposals? That's where the Friends is, that's where a lot of the zoning units are. And I go, Suzanne, but we would do footprint, we would do footprint. And, I wish that, and we talked about this here when I was on commission back in the early 2000s. And, I'll be frank, city was there. We, as the other two questions I have are about construction, schedule, maybe for the, and then for the, what is budget for this?
All right, Duncan McMillan?
Duncan McMillan, I'm from North Albertville, and my suggestion is on phase one, you have a statement that says improve the sales area. I think the chain of events that have occurred recently make that not adequate, because improved does not necessarily mean increase, and right now you have to increase it because it has been decreased. The changes in the children's room, that domino fell, the wall went away for the art. That would happen to be also the space where we were doing special sales, which are third revenue or so. It comes from the ongoing type of activity. So that'll be going away. We have one little sale that was going to be this now, actually was going to be today, selling magazines, which normally get tossed. This is good. We can get about $1,000 for having the things. We're not doing that. I don't know what would make a good boy, who knows, but not real money. And that happened because we couldn't put it outside where the art area generally was. We get 3 or 4 tables down there. No, they're gone. They're gone forever as far as we know. And that means other stuff. So that would be my pitch for, if you want to keep the 85,000 coming in, it's time to increase because it's been decreased. Thanks.
Okay, discussion amongst the commissioners. Maybe if
I
you,
believe CLA, the legal use of the law.
Can we pass the mic around?
With regards to use of the NCLA funds, I believe there were one lawyer's opinions were solicited on that.
I don't think this is not the time to address that. I was actually talking about the presentation, not the public comments, but. Do you have any comments on the?
That's Karen.
I don't, I have specific comments that I marked up. Do you want to see that now, or should we? First off, I want to say that most of this is very general. When you say reconfigure and enlarge the lobby, that means a lot of things. Much of this hasn't been decided. And this is the first step in the process to get your feedback, and we really appreciate that feedback. There's gonna be a lot more discussions about this with all the stakeholders, Lolly, Friends. Definitely, it's key. Friends is Friends has been around since 1957, which I hate to say is older than me. But Friends is a very important group to this city and the surrounding. And it's not, we need to make it work. And the idea is to make it work. But all these are very general and we can talk about it. The one, we expected 3 proposals priced out. Going through it where we actually saw roughly what each thing would cost for the stakeholders to look at. The expansion, yeah, this was sold as being done within the walls and seeing what we can do within the walls. I've been through the struggle with many of you trying to get the library rebuilt and redone. And this is what we can do today. And this is the path we chose to go on. The family bathrooms, it seems so innocuous, install family bathrooms. But keep in mind, much of this building itself, most of it, was laid out in 1965. And the bathrooms are from 1965. The bathroom, I'm not gonna say the bathrooms are not safe, because that's not true, but you don't have a family restroom. It's something that's really key, especially with the popularity of the children's programs ongoing. The expansion into the courtyard, the new children's area is a huge thing and really goes to the demographic of up and coming folks, our future. I can't state enough how important open access is. Someone mentioned, are we adding services? Well, you do add services when you have more hours. And Woodland, as far as I know, has been a great success with open access, where people can come in 3 hours before library start time, read the paper, meet, socialize. And there's requirements for that, line of sight requirements, safety requirements, and that's a big part of it. Fit and finish. Improving the Friends sales space, we need to solve the Friends sales problem in the right way. And I hope that this remodel will do that. And I know that the Friends will be a big part of it. I want to mention on one of the slides, you talk about remediate inadequate wiring on it's 1G. But you talk about a remodel team space that's a possible venue for video game tournaments. I gotta tell you, one of the biggest events we do here in this room is a Saturday gaming day. You can't get parking, that's another issue. But the Saturday gaming day is very well done, and this is these are the kinds of ideas that we could really use to take us forward. Why not have a gaming area? I mean, libraries are just not just books. More comments. Again, I said what I said about extended hour space, and the reason you see the phasing of, I think Darwin had asked about going from one side of the library to the other, that was more an additive thing, i.e., small project, big project. You should not limit yourself to that geographical perspective. It's the whole library. And outside of that, thank you very much for being here and speaking. And I appreciate the presentation, and I very much appreciate everyone in this room, however you feel, expressing your feelings and working with the folks here to improve our libraries. Michelle?
Something.
I have a couple of things. So one thing I wanted to address is, it's great that we're
thinking about accessibility and that's, you know, very important. I have, disabled child as well, so I'm just saying that that is huge for me. Another thing is, children's safety, just in general, right? Like, not just accessibility in terms of, you know, disability, but also like little kids, like I wanna make sure that there's no sharp corners, like, when the kids are little, things can be very dangerous. So I just wanna make sure that it's children friendly as well when renovating. So that's one. And then number two, it's great that you're taking everybody's feedback, and I love that you're thinking of everybody and making sure we hear everybody. And, you know, thank you so much, everybody, for coming to speak to us. How are you planning on like putting together all the feedback, like consolidated feedback, and then making a proposal after that? Because I want to make sure that if we're researching from all the asks, like there's gonna be a lot of asks, right? Like, how are you gonna prioritize them? You know, because some will be conflicting as well. So I just wanted to make sure that it doesn't skip from feedback to like, oh, let's plan this. Like we have, like, whatever you find, because we won't be in all the feedback sessions probably. So I just wanted to make sure that like there's a session where we get the feedback, we'll share it, and then we prioritize on how we're gonna move forward. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure, so you're right, when you're listening to a lot of voices, it's a lot of voices, it's not all the same thought, it's not all the same, opinion or perspective. And one of the things we work really hard to do is reflect that input as it is, you know, reflect everything that we've heard. And then as we move forward with it, we try to bring in analysis to it and not to oversimplify and say, oh, you know, we heard X, but we say, you know, we heard a lot about X, but we heard a spectrum of opinion on this topic or that topic. And so it will be very important to us as we're moving forward to make sure that, yes, we're documenting things, you know, well and accurately. And then as we're summarizing it, that we reflect the diversity of opinion that we've heard. Then one of the things that we will do as we're exploring solutions, exploring designs, is initially we're not going to be trying to find the perfect solution. There's a couple things that we need to achieve as we're doing those first steps of design. We need to, one, answer some questions that the city is trying to understand about the cost of potential improvements. But another thing that we're trying to do is really ask questions and learn from those questions. I don't know if you've ever thought about design that way, but every time you try a different idea or a solution and then you see how it works, you learn something from it. You see what the trade-offs are, what it achieves well, what it doesn't do so well. And that will be really important to this next set of discussion, that we're not planning to come in and say, here's a solution, I hope you like it. We'll say, here's one idea, here's another idea. Tell us where it's successful, tell us where it has challenges. Let's learn from that and then see where we can go from there. So I hope that kind of explains that approach and that process and how it won't just be a direct line, there'll be an evolution and a walking together towards answers that we hope will balance those different values and priorities and needs that we care about.
That's great to hear that. That's not gonna be a drastic jump from. And then another thing, I don't know if this is a city question maybe, but like, they were addressing about not having enough meeting rooms and things like that. Is there any way that senior center can help us? Because I know they charge money, right? So that can get expensive. So I'm just wondering if there is any solution from that side as well to see if we can like release it for the public for free. Just because we don't have enough meeting rooms here.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. I think I talk loud enough that hopefully people can hear me. The city is always happy to partner with the library district on space constraints if there's issues. Obviously, for this project, we're gonna be working on making sure that we improve the space within to fully meet the needs of the community. So if the community says that they need more ability to have meeting spaces, that could be an option that's being pursued by the architect. I think the one important note, and I don't want to speak for Anderson Brule, is everything has a trade-off. So if we look at more meeting spaces, that would affect space that we could have for other things within the footprint. So all of these are trade-offs that I think, we have a great architectural team who has specialty in libraries and can find that. During construction, I did hear someone mention, phasing of construction and things like that. The city is always happy to partner with the library district to host events. If the construction or if any improvements, anything happens within the library footprint, we are partners with the library, and I know Rose already knows who to contact at the city, and we're happy to partner during construction to limit our negative impact. So,
Sorry, maybe I wasn't being clear. I was talking about the senior center over there.
In the
community center.
Community center, sorry, community center.
So we always look at, I mean, this is a city philosophy, but this is a civic center, this is a civic campus, and so we obviously want to encourage people to go wherever they feel compelled and utilize any of our facilities, but for Anderson Brule, I think they're gonna be targeting making sure that the library does what the library should do for the community, so.
Yeah, I understand that point, but what I wanted to say was that, there were a couple of comments about meeting rooms and things like that. And I know that ABA doesn't have to consider that, consider about the community center. But what I'm trying to say is in order to kind of make the public more comfortable, I was just wondering from our side, whether we can provide some of the community center room for free so that people can use that room.
I believe we do have rooms that are rentable for hours, for meeting spaces and different things like that. So we do have ways to do that. And then we do have nonprofit rates that I think we can provide. And the city does partner with library organizations all the time to use the space for different facilities and different uses. So,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
We're
for
always happy
clarifying.
to do that.
I'm just wondering.
Christine?
I don't think I have anything to add.
I think I agree with what Pierre says. He expressed my feelings about the fact that the presentation was really well. And I was thinking that we would get more specifics.
Good. So with that, Anthony, I mean, there's no motion.
There's no motion. I do want to just close by inviting everybody. I'm happy to see so many new faces to our library commission meetings. We meet the first Thursday of the month, every other month, pretty much. You can check the website, but we do have flyers. Please come to the other events. On behalf of the architects, I want to say that we want everybody to come, and I know it was mentioned. We want feedback from the groups. So the city did meet with all of the library stakeholder groups intentionally to release this information. And we really want folks from those organizations to come and provide feedback on what they think is most beneficial in this project. And what the criteria for success is, I think the term that ABA uses a lot, what success looks like for all of those organizations. So if you represent an organization, if you feel that you have strong thoughts, feelings, any opinions, please come to those other sessions. I'll be here. I know that ABA will as well, and our library commissioners will try to attend as well. So thank you all for being here.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
What will the content of the next two meetings that are described as workshops be?
So I can explain kind of what those meetings are going to be. They're going to be having those slides that have the individual improvements from the proposals up, as well as blank canvases for feedback. And it will give the opportunity for participants to come through and provide comments on what exactly they see are the issues of certain ones, what they see as the positives. And then obviously, I think ABA has touched on it, but it's important to mention, all of this is open for feedback. So if there are thoughts, please provide it, but we do have a good jump off point.
So you mean that we're gonna have images to see?
Wait, let me go ahead and clarify.
Yeah.
The content that we'll be sharing at those meetings will be very similar to what was shared tonight in that background. Sharing basically the foundation that we're building on right now. What will be substantially different from tonight will be that there is more of an opportunity for dialogue back and forth. Our team will be there to talk to any one that wants to join us. This is a great opportunity to really get the word out about that opportunity and be able to gather, I would say, more granular feedback. You won't be limited to 3 minutes. You can talk to the specific improvements, saying, you know, like family bathrooms. I think this is, you know, really important for you to think about, or a successful family bathroom would look like this, or be able to ask further questions and things. So it'll be a much more back and forth dialogue set up to gather input on each of those identified improvement areas. But we'll be asking, you know, so similar information that was included in the report and similar questions of focusing on, are there any input on these priorities that have been identified and approved by the city as they stand for now? And what does success look like for improving these areas that have been identified? And I don't, does that help?
It sounded like
Thank you.
you said that you were going to go through the different slides that you didn't do today. Are you going to do that at the next public meeting?
We would be able to do that on a one-on-one basis, because those same slides will be, basically, each one will have a station.
I see. Okay,
And we
okay, that's
could
great. That's
do that.
Yeah, we'll have a big board with all that information on it at the station. So that we're able to engage with people and then rotate through the stations.
Mhm.
And hear from each of you about your thoughts on any given proposal that's been put forward to this point by the city. So.
And for the ones that you're interested in, one of the things that we did in tonight's format was trying to make the best use of the commission's time in this format and go through those things briefly, that the details were provided in advance of the report for review, and basically not making everyone sit through every point when they may not necessarily be equally interested in different areas.
And I do want to say, if other folks have logistical questions, feel free to ask me afterwards. I'll be here. I can't promise all night, but I'll be here for a little bit after the commission meeting. My email was in the presentation. I'm always happy to meet individually, and I can walk people through the process if they have questions. But we're gonna return to the commission meeting agenda. I do want to give people the opportunity to leave if you would like, because we are gonna head into other discussion items, so.
The one last thing I'll say, thank you for coming, but the study session FAQ that we did lists out every item area that there's a slide on and references where the need came from and what need number it was. If it came from the 2008 needs assessment and what number was actually listed in the needs assessment. So you can track back all these items to those analyses.
I do, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to add one more thing. Are you finished? Are you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
I also wanted to mention, I don't think you're touching it, but I want to make sure that the windows, you know, remain, meaning like I love the open space of Los Altos, and one of the perks of Los Altos is the beautiful, you know, greeneries outside. So I just want to make sure that like windows don't become walls and things like that. If that makes sense, just to.
Good, so with that, we'll go to item number 3. The agenda. I'll give a chance for people to read what they like. Disbanding the commission presence ad hoc subcommittee. Well, hold on, is there any? So,
Do you want to take does anyone need to use the restroom?
oh, you guys want to? No, on this item, is there a staff report?
There's no staff report. The commission presence ad hoc subcommittee consisted of Commissioner Crane and Vice Chair Morris. because Commissioner Crane is no longer on the commission, staff recommended disbanding the ad hoc subcommittee.
And then we did also, present the presentation last time. So we have enough things to move forward with. And so I think we have a plan in place. So I can just work directly with Anthony and Rose, if that's okay. To keep the momentum going. So,
And I did, sorry, this is related to commission presence. I did want to highlight.
Yeah.
The city did put out a Minute with Gabe segment today. I'm not gonna pull it up, don't worry, Pierre. With Chair Bedard, and it's talking about the improvements to the library space. So we're putting that out through all of our social media channels. So the library commission is front and center in our social media outreach right now. So that touches on commission presence.
and today's session too, I thought was good as a commission presence.
My only comment is I have comments on your presentation.
Okay,
That I would like to meet with you with
we can meet together.
and talk about, and but I'm all for disbanding.
Mhm. I think, yeah, that's okay, right, for us to talk about it or
What
no?
we can do is just bring it back as a topic. So it can just come back.
No, I meant, I had comments from the presentation, from the report she made, and I just need to give her my comments, that's it. So it's not a.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can we take it personally or? no?
yeah,
You can meet individually with one other commissioner.
yes, you just can't
Okay.
meet as a quorum.
Oh, just as long as it's one-on-one, it's fine, right?
Yeah, two people
Okay.
is, yeah. So with that, is there a motion to disband the subcommittee?
I'll move.
Second.
So moved, so seconded, roll,
Yes.
Anthony?
Chair Bedard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Morris,
Aye.
Commissioner Fawcett,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Yes.
the motion carries.
Next item is, item 4, discuss night at the library event.
You want to talk? or-
I can do, it's easier.
There's
Plan. Had been proposed by Rose that we would basically, do something in conjunction with the regular library event. It would probably be, in conjunction with the opening of the new children's library in the summer. And we've now learned that the new children's library is not going to be built till the fall. We're proposing to, wait for the new children's library rather than put on a totally separate event in the summer. Unless, anybody has any other suggestions for a summer event.
Yeah, that's what we're proposing.
And you don't need to take a motion on anything tonight.
Okay.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, we need to make it a big deal, the opening of the children's library for a night event. Well, you get parents. Maybe.
Is it, well, originally, I mean, when we talked about it as a summer event, I was thinking maybe it wouldn't be a night event. But now I don't know. Do we have a timeline for the, okay, so, but it might it be a weekend event or it can be then, okay, so we just don't know. Night at the library is just what it's always been called, but that's.
So it could be, it's not night per se, cool.
Yeah.
Anything else on item 4? Good, so, public comment? None, okay. Item 5, discuss potential targeted outreach for youth. Any staff report on this?
There's no staff report. This was on the commission's work plan for this year, and we did line item that for this meeting. So it's an open discussion for the commission if you would like to look into this more. If you'd like to have someone do research on this topic and maybe come back, it could be an area of focus.
Were there some targets in mind?
For targeted outreach? I think it's a broad topic that, as part of the powers and duties of the Library Commission. It focuses on trying to targeted outreach for specific age areas, seniors, youth. And so this was brought up as a potential item where a commissioner could look to explore potential targeted outreach for youth.
So if there's an, and we worked on the senior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's any other areas that we want to focus on, or
You also do not need to, this could be an item that comes back at another time. I know tonight we had a lot of information with the PowerPoint. I probably should have made the agenda a little wider for you guys, so.
So I have a project. This is Marion Abel's History of the Los Altos Library, 1914 to 1964, in the reference section of the library. And I want to get it online. I'm actually working or have recruited what did they call them? Slobs? Service leader.
Service League of Boys.
Service League of Boys.
Service League of Boys,
Yeah, slobs. And I recruited a guy to help me essentially get permission, write a letter to San Jose State, get permission to reproduce it, raise the funds, and actually go through the entire project of printing it and then potentially reselling it for the Friends as a sort of a, I don't know, a library tchotchke. But anyway, it's a project. It involves youth. I know that the History Commission has a history docent project that showed up in the town crier. Not that I think we should do a library. I mean, there's library docents. We don't need to lead that. But anyway, I think there's specific projects where it would be good to involve young people. And this, I sort of want to propose this one. I mean, not formally today, but something I know many of you know I've been sort of working on, but I'm gonna work with a youth,
okay.
and get it done. And that's the extent of what I wanted to talk about on targeted outreach. I have lots of ideas, but it's sort of hard to affect them with 4 of us. Or 5. Any other items, any other discussion on item 5? Good, so let's go to
Public comment.
Thinking about the youth, I know it's been very effective to actually go to their commission meetings and with a topic and talk to them. And go more than once, maybe twice a year, just to keep reminding them that they have this avenue. I know that when I was on the commission and then other commissions after us, we got valuable input into what they need to have. And just having them know that we are thinking of them, that we have a presence and that they have a presence with us. And that they could come to this meeting if they have any ideas. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you.
Good one, thank you.
And just a shout out to ABA if you're thinking of doing Wi-Fi gaming, your gaming area. That's who I'd be talking to. Of course, we could have a Pokemon Live area. All right, informational items, staff reports. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Item 6.
I'll go ahead and city staff doesn't have a written report. You've received my long manifesto and the ABA report. So staff is working with ABA moving forward in this as part of the TAC team, along with the county library staff. We're excited about this project. I just want to say I've been liaison for this commission for about 1.5 years now. I think it's been about 1.5 years, and it's awesome to see the room full for the library commission, which is really exciting. So it's fun to see engagement around the library, and this project is really going to be a kickoff to hopefully something very exciting. So we're excited for that. And I'll pass it on to Kevin.
Good evening, everyone.
Public comment. I have a lot to say tonight. I just wanted to let everybody know that I checked the calendar, and there are 2 comments for tonight's meeting. And one of them is about accessibility, and they have several really good suggestions for that.
Okay, great.
It's been, it's online, so
Yes.
you can read online, and I think you got it to your
Yes.
email, so all public comments that come to the library commission should be sent out to your emails.
I have a public comment. You will all be getting formal invitations. I want you to save the date, April 1st. Speaking volumes, it'll be in the Grand Oaks Room. We have a wonderful author, Alka Joshi, who wrote The Henna Artist and the Jaipur Trilogy. There will be a reception to begin that you will be invited to, and then her talk starts at 7. So I just wanted you to save the date, April 1, and also speak at Silicon Valley Reads on March 30th. We'll have the Wild Robot movie. And I'm pretty sure it just won an Oscar. And that's supposed to be for kids, but Cindy assures me that it's also for adults. It'll be also at the Grand Oak Room on March 30th, 1 to 3 p.m. And then there's a Zoom meeting with the author, Peter Brown, immediately after the movie. So you're invited to that. Again, free to the public's invited, but you are our special guest, especially the public you are invited to the donor reception. The public is invited to the speaking event that starts at 7. So please save your dates, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
County Library staff.
Okay, Freddie, now down to 2 pages. Just kidding. Of course, we are still in our. Yeah. So, Freddie was mentioning, we are still full speed ahead with Silicon Valley Reads right now. So in addition to the program that he mentioned, we have lots of virtual programs. We have lots of other programs throughout the county district. So I encourage you to go online and see all of those engagements, and hopefully you'll be able to attend some of those. It's been wonderful so far. It's been a great topic, and people have been very engaged in the technology aspect, especially here for obvious reasons. There's also been some mention of the storybook, SCCLD. I can't tell you how excited we are about this project. It is true that Los Altos is now scheduled for the fall, but we do have Saratoga opening up shortly. So Saratoga is our first library to undergo the storybook SCCLD. And they are set to open officially not this Saturday, but the one after. I think it's the 14th, maybe the 15th. There is a program there. It is in the daytime. So if you'd like to attend during the day rather than the evening, you can do so there. So please check on that. We also have Women's History Month. Lots of programs there as well, online, in person. We have Amy Wu doing a author talk on Wednesday, March 12th, that I hope that you can attend. It's about from farms to incubators. And then we, of course, we have our March virtual author talks as well. In addition to that program, we have March 20th. We have, boy, I'm getting all over it. March 26th. Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm trying to read that, I can't. So I will just say, refer to the report here, that's available in the packet. You can read the smaller print here that I did not, and I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. That's all of ours.
Not done.
Oh, no, sorry.
So when you refer to the SCCLD children's, is that the children's area? Is that the children's area? It's not the storybook walk?
Largely, it's being referred to as Storybook SCCLD because of course it is for our children and it's individual stories at each of these locations. So the story at Saratoga is Redwood Rock.
But it's not this, it's not the stations thing you were talking about before.
The station.
The story walk.
Story walk.
No. Storywalk is a separate project.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I was
this is
just
the
confused.
place based in the children's area.
Wait, no big.
I will start off with this. So, having to report some increase, we continue to get, high usage and increase our usage. Just for example, the total checkouts for Los Altos did increase by 7.8% at over 47,000. At Woodland, they increased by 3.5% at over 8,000. And the next one is the circulation by hour. Yeah. So I thought this was really interesting. Just kind of shows us where we circulate the most. It might be the times where most, where people in the library, but might not. It really just depends. But it seems like 4 to 5 p.m. Is when we have the highest circulation, and so that just makes sense, correlates with like after school time and when we have programs as well for after school. Some highlights from our program. So thanks to Lolly and to the Friends for helping support our programs. This is our 3D printing program. You'll see the kids actively engaging with the 3D printing and the software in their projects there. The next one is our raft program that we had, and thanks to the city for letting us use the soccer field. It was an outdoor program, it was the raft mobile, and they had some really exciting STEM programs there as well for the children. And this is from the line dancers when we celebrated Lunar New Year in our out in the parking lot there. So they were really nice and friendly with all the children. So
I just want to voice that I always get jealous when I see Rose's pictures of all the stuff that they're doing here at the library.
Yes, I feel like I'm missing out. It's like already done.
You're welcome to attend. So these are some of the highlights of the programs in March. We have Piggy Bank Pioneers, which is a program about financial literacy that already took place. We have our bilingual story times, we have Mandarin and Spanish story times. We have our board game Sunday, and we have our book clubs and our very popular Sunday Crafternoon, which is for the whole family. For adults, we have our conversations clubs. Anthony was telling me he walked in on that program and it sounded like it was really fun. We have some food as medicine. The Science of Technology is a Silicon Valley Youth program, and also the UC Master Gardeners, which we always have as well. As Franny mentioned, the Lolly sponsored Wild Robot movie screening and the virtual author talk are coming up on March 30th. And lastly, I did want to share this really wonderful letter I got from a mother. The title of the email was A Love Letter to the Librarians. And so she was just so gracious, talking about the story times. She has a daughter that's 1.5 years, and how she's been bringing her daughter to the library and how she's just felt so welcome. And, it really aligns with our mission to create lifelong learners. So it was really nice to see that. And I shared it with the children's librarians because, with the work they put into providing for children's services is really their passion. And so it was really nice to hear that. And I, of course, shared with her about Storybook SCCLD. And she was very excited and shared with her friends. So that's all I have if anybody has questions.
I have one comment on your 3D printing. Are those printers that small?
Yeah, they're children's. They're the toy box printers. Yeah.
So note to ABA, technology changes fast. Don't walk in to technology. i.e. in the old days, that same printer was probably a lot bigger, right? I mean,
yeah.
So if you were going to do a space for it in the old day, right, based on that, with technology evolving. And I apologize for not mentioning this before, but in your slide on computing, there was a statement saying that we don't have enough computers compared to other libraries. And I just thought, okay, is that bad? I'm just saying, don't be locked into set formats on technology. And I wanted to point out 3D printer right there. I couldn't believe how small it was. That's all. That's what triggered that thought. So with that, thank you. A lot of happening. All right, with that, commissioner report. Christine?
Lali, the courtyard project was approved by the planning commission and the historical commission. But 2 appeals have been filed of the planning commission's decision and 1 appeal of the historical commission's decision. The appeals will be heard by the city council probably in April. Project.
It'll be on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, good, soon.
It'll be on this Tuesday night at 7 PM.
Oh, very good. Woodland patio project is also progressing. Hope to have construction-ready drawings to submit to the city by mid-April. Anything else, Freddie?
Anthony and I, and, members of, Lolly that are on the Woodland project. And Anthony, are meeting with Greentown, March. Do you remember?
Sometime in the coming.
Sometime this month. And, working on this, and our city manager has graciously agreed to, pay for some of the Greentown portions of the project that Greentown would not be able to pay for. And his mantra is, do not let anything delay this project. So that was incredibly good news. It's just going very well, and we're very pleased to have the opportunity to do this project. And I think it'll make a big difference for the local library. I know those St. Simon kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yes.
Thank you, Freddie.
Report?
Well, Christine gave the report that regarding the night at the library.
Michelle?
Another report, but just as a reminder, we do need a picture taken. Soon.
Yes, I'll send an email before our next meeting to remind folks so you're ready for the picture. So get ready.
You get a report from NCLA?
Well, friends also.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. So, actually, I don't think there's been a board meeting since our last, it has.
Well, we haven't had the minutes.
On the NCLA front, I had my first meeting and they elected me president, which to my shock. So, I'm the president of the NCLA, which is quite it's a responsibility and a privilege. But outside of that, there have been, I want just stating something about between the Friends and the city. The last sale was especially good. The coordination is fantastic from what I can tell between the Civic Center and the sale. I think I'm hoping, and I'll go back to the Friends governors, that they're a key part of the discussion with ABA. they're, they, as I stated earlier, they've been around since 1957. They serve a lot of purposes. I'm really disappointed that Greentown fell short. But I would venture to say that the Friends probably do more for recycling than Greentown. We probably recycle more books, more boxes, more tonnage than anybody out there. And we're, just that alone is a very green thing and a big success. So, and that's it. So with that, the next item is potential future agenda items.
Could I just make a note?
Sure.
We do plan to bring back ABA to other commission meetings, so this will be a topic that will be coming back to the commission. So you don't need to agendize anything, but I wanted to let you know.
Good. I know our work plan, I'd like to do an update on our work plan when we're at our next meeting, make sure we're still on track. If possible, is that okay? Or do I need a second for that? What do you guys, okay with that? Okay.
So right now we have one subcommittee, is that correct? For the night of the library?
Yes, so we have an ad hoc to spare.
Okay, we have a group.
And there was a public comment that came in from somebody who there were two public comments, but I'd like to agendize the contents of one of them from Mr. Sarab Vaja. I'd like to, at least have it reviewed or agendized so we can review some of his ideas that range, from, actually, one of his ideas I thought was really good was the paper shredder, but we can talk about that. I'd just like to bring this up as an agenda item if that's possible.
I think we'll try and be specific on what you'd like to.
He's a disabled person and he has concerns that the library is not meeting the needs of disabled people, particularly himself. I think that is worthy of us to discuss it.
Like accessibility consideration could be an agenda.
I think we could agendize accessibility and that's okay. I do just want to make a note that that is a focus area of the project as well. We can agendize it to discuss it though.
Okay.
Accessibility at the
How do
library.
we forward these emails that we've been getting from the public over to ABA to make sure that they are taking that into?
They know how to find it. I'll be making sure that they'll be forwarded, but
Okay.
they're all publicly available documents.
Everything we receive, we receive 2 emails. Those are part of the public record.
But where is it recorded?
It's on the meeting webpage.
Okay.
So on the meeting webpage, you can click and it says written public comments. So if we
Okay.
get things before 2 PM on the meeting day, I can upload it before the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Accessibility at the library.
Are there any other potential agenda items for the future? Oh, I do have one. I received a report from Wally as to their disbursements from 2024. And I'd like to have that as a discussion item. Or at least, get it into the record. Not a discussion item with any particular point, just to discuss what it all means. You know what I mean? That was it. So it's not.
Staff will review and make sure it's on the agenda.
Cool.
The appropriate location.
Thank you. And outside of that, anything else? Okay.
Oh, sorry, on that topic, I wanted to understand it just because it came up right now. How do you assess accessibility needs? Like, do you have like a accessibility focus group or something like that? Or how do you determine what's needed? Oh,
I do want to, we can't really get into discussion at this
Okay.
point, so I'll say
We'll talk
that,
about it next time.
I'll say that staff here's the comment about accessibility, we'll bring it forward. I will say, like I said, it might be limited though, because we are exploring all of these options, but we'll discuss it as.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. So with that, I'd like to adjourn this meeting and thank everybody for attending, those of you who have stuck around.